Alright, so welcome to part 2 of the 2 horsepower sattley restoration. Originally this one was going to be about the gas tank, but I'm still working on getting the paint cleaned off in the gas tank, so part 2 is going to be about the cylinder head. So this head needs valve guides. Sorry it's dark over here and my shadow's in the way. Head needs valve guides. They're wore out. They're wore plumb out, so I'm going to machine new valve guides. What we're going to do is we're going to drill out the old guides. This is going to be reamed to 1/2 inch, and then we're going to press in new guides that I'm going to machine myself. So first thing we got to do is drill out the old guides. We'll go on ahead and get started with that. Get this drilled and reamed, and then we can start machining the new guides, because I don't know what the exact size of this is. Alright, so I've got my nifty little tripod set up. Move this around here. Just want to check, make sure we're cutting all the way around, and it would appear that we are. So we'll take this slow. There we go. Just took it slow. So now we should be able to get the reamer and ream that out. Alright, so it took a little bit of finagling, but I finally got the drill bit lined up. Had to turn the table on the drill press sideways. I measured this with a bore gauge and a micrometer. That is exactly according to the micrometer. And I'll measure it 2 or 3 times once I get done with this. We're exactly 1/1000th over 1/2 inch, which is perfect. Pretty even cut. could change tools this time without lowering the table. Probably not. I can give it a try. No, I got it. There we have it. Both valve guides done. I have to measure those and make bushings for them now. Alright, so I got to head over here on the machine shop bench. I have been sorry if I sound stuffed up. I measured this with a bore gauge, with micrometer, and I can show how I done that real quick because I moved that micrometer. This mic does not have a lock on it. This is an old Brown and Sharp. So I can do like this. And here's a ratchet. GoPros aren't good with focus. Showing exactly 1/2 inch. So I can make my bushings about 3/1000 over and have about a 2 to 3/1000 press fit. And that's exactly what I wanted. So we have good concentric holes. I did check that. This is also the measurement I was getting with the calipers. So we can start machining new valve guides on the lathe. What we've got here is a piece of 360 brass. I already faced this end of it, but this is one I'm going to start with. And I have to find a good place to stick the camera. Let me figure that out, and we'll get to machining. Alright, so I think I got y'all a pretty cool shot here. Went and got my magnet camera mount and put it on the tailstock. So this is a little 7x10 Harbor Freight lathe that I've had since I was probably 13 years old, and it's put in a lot of hours, I give it that, but not without any trouble. But I'm going to start by facing this off. Hopefully the camera doesn't get hot. The stove is right behind me and I'm actually getting warm, so Alright, so next thing we're going to have to do is put a center in it. So let me get all my center drills together. Alright, so I got it moved in closer. See if we can get a center in it. At least a halfway accurate center. Let me make an adjustment here. Alright, that ought to be plenty of center. There we go. That was a number 2 center drill, by the way. And now I need this. So now we can pull this out a ways. Lock that down. Nope, I don't have enough room. I'm going to have to loosen the tailstock, move it back. That ought to do. So now we're going to touch off right about there. I'll zero my dial down here. Go in 10 thousandths. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because I need to measure in about 3.5 inches and make a mark. That's apparently about all I got sticking out. Move this back out the way. Hold on. Alright, so I've made a mark about 3.5 inches down. And the reason being for the valve guide length, going to be about 3.5 to make 2 valve guides out of that piece. Because they're going to be 1.5 inches a piece. Yeah, they're going to be right about 1.5 inches a piece. So 3 inches would be, at least if my math is right, I don't know. I'm giving extra so I can part these off, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to touch off right there, zero my dial. Go in about 10 thousandths. We're going to run it to this line on the auto feed. This is 5/8 in diameter, by the way. I ordered it oversized just so I could turn it down to the dimension of the valve guides. I'm not going to film all of this, by the way. Take another 10 thousandths. Trying different speeds to see what kind of a finish I can get. And I'm just going to use calipers till I get close to my dimension. Might try a different tool bit. I don't like the finish. This will be the last pass I make on camera here. Might be going to get a different tool bit. Not a bad finish. I'm going to keep it at about that speed. I don't have a tack on this, so I can't tell what my RPM is. All right. Alright, alright, so here's one of our finished valve guide blanks. This lathe has apparently got a little taper in it. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments because the first one that was on the front of the stock ended up too small and just slid right through the hole, but the back part is right on dimension. So I only got one valve guide out of that, but I'm alright with that. So now I'm gonna have to do a little dialing in with a dial indicator, get it dialed in the lathe, get a hole in the center, and then I'll probably either work on the new valve, get it drilled out and reamed, and then we'll get it started on the other one anyways. So that's where I'm at now. I didn't show any of the last cuts or getting this cut off. I broke my parting tool. I hate parting tools, especially with brass and aluminum. This is exactly 1.5 inches long. So I'm gonna start working on getting that dialed in. Alright, so I got this ready to drill. I don't like how far I've got to have this drill bit, but it's the only drill bit I had the right size. I'm gonna run it pretty low speed, so I can keep my eye on it. Unfortunately, I'm out of travel. But y'all get the idea. Alright, so here's our 3/8 reamer. We're ready to run it through there. I didn't didn't like that noise it made, but it'll be all right. There we go. Alright, so now we can get that out of there and check the fit on our valve. I broke my chuck key that I just made, so I gotta use that piece of square stock there. Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. No slop there whatsoever. That is our valve guide completed. Looks a little ugly, but it'd be alright. It's a hit and miss engine. Probably won't show making the other one. This one was a pain in the ass. So we're going to start on the next one. Alright, so I got the second guide in here. Just thought I would show how I've got it dialed in. You can see it's within a thousandth, and there's actually a thousandth of run out in this cheap Chinese chuck. I'm gonna have to get a different chuck for this thing, so thousandth of run out ain't gonna hurt nothing. And besides, the new one, that's what it's got, and it's already pressed in. Perfect. So I got our drill bit. Should be ready to go. Alright, so I got our drill bit lined up. Just bore the hole in it. I moved everything, the chuck, closer this time so that maybe the drill bit will go all the way through. Tried a little lower speed than yesterday. I don't like all the deflection that's in that drill bit. that was all of the travel. I don't know how much more I got left to go. That was all there was to go. Less than 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so got the reamer set up. Put a little bit of WD on it so maybe it won't chatter. Also running a slightly lower speed. Out of travel. Might be all the way through, but I can't tell. Alright, so I went ahead and run it on the way through. Here we go. Here's our finished guide. Oh yeah, there we go. No slop. Perfect. So I'm going to stick this back in here. I'm going to chamfer both ends of it to where it'll be easier fit. And then we'll get it installed. Alright, so here's our valve guide. It's a perfect fit on the valve. This is the exhaust valve. So it actually goes here, but I'm still machining the other valve. So using, they both have the same size valve stem. So here's where it's going to go, is right here. So I'm going to put some WD-40 down that hole and on the guide. And I just start it. I'm gonna have to go grab a hammer, but I used a piece that I messed up earlier to make a driver. So really it would be best to use a arbor press for this, but my arbor press is outside where it's currently 35 degrees. Right there. It does leave a little burr, but I should be able to take the reamer like that. Knock that burr off, and there we have it. Brand new valve guides. Alright, so right now I'm currently working on cutting the valve seat. It's took quite a bit to get it to this point. I've had to cut it way deeper than I wanted to. Oh, you can see where I welded a crack in the head. But it had to be done. The valve sits pretty far back up in there, but I've seen worse. I'm gonna keep cutting on it because there is still pitting here. It will prevent that valve from sealing, and maybe I can get this sharp burr off here too, but I'll probably cut a slight 20-degree angle on the inside and have a 2-angle valve grind. That's what I usually end up doing with these. So I'll show cutting some of the intake, but I'm not going to show any of the cutting of the exhaust. Alright, so tonight, it's pretty late. I need to work on the valve guide, or not valve guide, rocker arm bushing. That's what I have this piece of brass for. But I don't have time to fool with that right now, so I'm going to go on ahead and make the most unnecessary part right now, and that's the oiler tube. I'll probably try to see if I can speed this part up in the video. But I'm going ahead and put the piece of stock in here. That's what the other piece of 5/8 brass was for. We are going to face it off. Not much, because I don't have that much length to work with. Block the cross slide here. More light cut. Alright, so there we go. There we go. Move this up here and out of the way. Nothing's going to hit. Go and center drill it. With a number 2 center drill. Let me change drill bits real quick and I'll be back. Alright, here we go. I've got the same drill bit we used to drill for the valve guides. And what we'll probably have to do is drill this side and then flip the stock around and drill through the other side, because I'm not going to have enough travel. Probably won't film all of this either. This metal lathe I got here is from Harbor Freight, and like I think I said earlier in the video, I think I've had this since I was about 13, and I've used it to do way more stuff than it's made to do, but it's pulled through, it's made it. Alright, I'm out of travel there, so run this back out, and stuff like this. So this time I'm going to move the whole tail stock in. And made quite a few parts with this thing for old equipment. I originally got it because I wanted to build some model steam engines, and I think to this day I've still never built a model steam engine with it. Well, I built one, but no, I built one. I rebuilt one too, so I just done a bunch of work to it not that long ago. I replaced the drive belt, and I got these new indexable tool bits for it. The drive belt was like shot. There wasn't no saving it. I replaced the drive belt pulleys too. I'm making the oiler tube out of brass because steel corrodes very quickly and easily. Travel again. I think I'm going to have to, I think chips are starting to build up in there, so I'm probably going to have to flip the stock around. I need to get, they make a quick release for this tail stock. I need to get one. Yep, chips were starting to build up in there. I don't know what that was, something just run around back there. Alright, I'm going to cut the film off here. Alright, so I got it finished, drilled all the way through. And now we got the old Harbor Freight pipe tap set out. And we can tap this in. If I can find a wrench, it'll fit on that. You need to carefully clamp it in the vise so as not to crush it. It might mar it a little bit, but it ain't gonna hurt it none. And the reason I'm making an oiler tube and not buying one is because one side is threaded internally. I'm going to grab the oiler so I can test fit it. Alright, so here's the oiler. It's a Lukenheimer 1.5 that I bought kind of specifically for this. Specifically for this engine. Well, no, I bought it because it was on eBay and it was cheap, but spinning in the vise here. Don't take much with a pipe tap, but it does take a little more than that. That'll probably be good enough. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Now it's done took hold of my oiler. So here's the original oiler tube. And you can see it's threaded on this end with 3/8 pipe thread. So the 3/8 pipe die that I have in the set looks like this. I don't have a wrench that'll fit in. So flip this around. Put back in the vise. It gives me an excuse to use this monstrosity. This is an old rigid pipe threader. And I ain't got that stuck up far enough out of there to get on it. Hopefully I can get through this without twisting this thing off. There we go. I think this is the first time I've used this, and I do have the handles for it. Waiting for when I need them. Test fit it in the engine. That's what the camera is stuck to, is the engine cylinder. Yeah, I think it'll be just fine. Get some sealer on it. The threads don't look very deep, but trust me, they are. So there's the oiler tube. Not the greatest looking piece, but I'll polish it up some. Okay, so now I'm working on this rocker arm bushing. It'll have a 5/8 OD and a 1/2 inch ID, and this is a big piece of brass that I had laying around. We're going to take a 20/1000 cut. That's one thing about brass, you can take a heavy cut with these little bitty lathes and be alright. So 20/1000 ain't much. Don't sound like much, but it is with this thing. So 10, that's 20. Let's see how it does. Perfect. It leaves a terrible finish on the surface, but you can take care of that with a finishing cut. I'm also making this extra long, so I'm probably going to measure out the length and start cutting what I need for the length. Alright, so here's our cylinder head. I've been lapping the valve in, trying to get it really good and lapped in so it seals, and I can't see no light around it. I'm waiting on a valve seat cutter that'll fit in here, so it's going to be another week or middle of this week before I get that. So I'll probably show cutting that valve seat maybe in the next video. Here's the new rocker arm bushing. I didn't show much of making it because it was basically the same thing as making a valve guide, it's just different. Part 3 we'll have cutting the other valve seat, finishing the fuel tank, which is over here drying out. I washed it out real good with water, and it's hot right now. I've got it drying on the wood stove, which getting pretty low. I'm not going to put any more in it tonight, so alright, so I know I said that the gas tank was going to be in the next video, but I finally got everything cleaned up on the gas tank. It's still rather surface rusted inside, but the gas tank coat will cover that up. It is perfectly clean inside though. So I got new freeze plugs for the bottom. We're gonna get those installed. So going to put some Permatex Indian head around these little rings right here. And that way, if the gas tank coat doesn't seal it down here, this will. Hopefully these don't put up too much of a fight. Should not have come out of there now. Have to be careful because this is cast iron. That should ought to seal it up. I'm not going to move the camera onto the gas tank because I don't know what the noise would be like with me pounding these freeze out plugs in. Not the best looking job in the world, but it'll be all right. There. I don't think any of those are going to come out. So now it'll be ready for the gas tank coat. Alright, so I got our gas tank coat here. I'm ready to coat the gas tank. I gotta find something to open the can with. I've got this red coat fuel tank liner. First time I've ever used it. Hopefully it works alright. If it does, I'll keep using it. A lot of ways I don't feel like juggling the gas tank, but I really want to get this coated so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'll see if I can get this can opened, and we'll get started coating the tank. Got the seal off of the can. Got some thick stuff there. Interesting smell, kind of smells like MEK. So I'm going to dump about half the can in this tank. And apparently very slowly. It actually smells like the ink that we use at work. Is what it smells exactly like it. Sorry about the radio in the background. I got the volume turned up.
I'm doing just fine. Sitting here daydreaming and one day paying no attention to what time it was. I've been doing the same thing. I ain't heard nobody. I didn't belong to nobody. Well, I guess everybody else is daydreaming then. Sound like everybody's daydreaming. Nobody's doing nothing. But I turned it up about 10 o'clock. I hadn't heard nobody. Hollered for walking. I hadn't heard nobody. I had you on earlier this evening. I heard Birdman get on there several different times hollering for walking, but he never did answer. Can't kick on it. You get anything but no.
Running out over the table? No.
Normal Sunday. Well, it took a little nap and then been watching cars. About 4 o'clock.
Alright. Take this funnel out. And put this plug in. It says this treats up to a 14-gallon tank. So half that can ought to be sufficient to coat this tank. So I'm just going to pick it up, slosh it around. Roll it around on this table. I hope this will be sufficient to move this stuff around in there. That's about 65 or 70 pounds for the gas tank. See what she looks like in here. Yeah, there's still some places hasn't got any. I'm gonna put some more in it. It kind of starts hardening up quick. I'm not going to film all of this just because save SD card space. Alright, so I've got it draining back out of the tank. I'm going to let that drain for a while. It seems to have coated the whole inside of the tank. We'll see how this stuff works. That was scary. This whole thing kind of moved. And try not to spill what's left of it, because I got a couple more gas tanks that need to be coated. Alright, so I guess that's going to be it for this video. gas tank's coated. I've got it currently flipped upside down so it can dry. I have to do a little cleanup on it from some of the stuff that got out where I drained it. It used about a quarter of that can to do the whole tank, so and that'll be plenty. I got it turned upside down so it can dry. I guess that's gonna about do it for part 2. I know this was a long one, but we did get quite a bit accomplished. We got rocker arm done. We've got valve guides in the cylinder head. Got the gas tank. I'll be painting this in part 3. We'll start work on the cylinder, which I'm still trying to get the paint stripped off of. I'm going to get some Gliptol to put in the hopper to coat the inside of the hopper. Get the cylinder honed. And maybe get enough parts together to start reassembling it. So just wanted to mention this is the first full video that I've done with this camera and my new laptop. So far really liking all of it, so every subscription is appreciated. I appreciate everybody watching. That'll be it for this video, and we'll see everybody in the next one.